Hello, my air signs, and welcome into today's reading. This will be for the second half of May, and we'll be taking a look at what all messages want to come through for you. We'll take a look at jobs and careers, love and relationship, and then life path and mission. And from a format perspective, what we'll do is I'll take a look at the energy for the collective grouping of air signs to begin with. And then I'll go through sign by sign and pull some individual cards to see maybe what are some of the challenges associated with each of those lines for you and things that you could do to help maybe move them into a higher vibrational state, more in alignment with you and what your goals are and things of that nature. So before we get started, we will take a look at, this is from the Crystal Oracle deck. I would say about probably maybe 60% of the cards in this deck have a crystal on them for you to work with. And there's three words or kind of concepts to think about. So this will be your overall energy for the second half of the month. So let's see what is coming through for our air signs. All right. We have got halite, mineral salt, easing grief, and then loss and sadness. So this is something where you might be having some rough spells coming up and you have a sense of loss and sadness about things, and how do you ease that grief? So there's fire in here. You might be dealing with a fire sign, but something is kind of burning within you, and what do you need to do to help ease that sense of grief, ease that sense of loss or sadness? So it's all about transmuting that energy. How do you overcome that? So we will keep this up here and kind of refer back to that. Also, this is a 31 card, which adds up to 4, which is about stability and being able to transmute some of those heavier energies. Some of that sense of loss or grief will help you to find more stability in your day-to-day life. All right, so I will use the dog tarot deck as we look at the energy for the air signs in general. And as a reminder, right now we do still have just one planet in retrograde, and that's Pluto. And that Pluto retrograde has a sense of kind of slowing of some of this intense transformative energy and upheavals. There's been a lot of it earlier this spring between the different eclipses going on and just kind of a lot of very transformative energy. And this is kind of a little bit of a lessening of that, allowing you to settle into what is your new pace, what is your new rhythm or pattern. And also, since you are settling into a new pattern, it also gives you a chance to take a look at it. Like Pluto's the great destroyer. So it gives you that chance to take a look at it and say, okay, is this a pattern that I like? Maybe if you had made a change, then you get to look at, okay, what is my new pattern based on that change? Do I like that? Is this change enough? Do I need more change? And then in terms of other things that are happening, and I'll just talk about one of them real quick before we get started, is on the 20th, we have the sun entering Gemini. So it'll be your season here, Gemini, coming up here. And that's going to be about spending the next, month or so, spending Gemini season with a more active mind. And it's active in terms of putting plans together for the future and keeping busy and active and engaged and inquisitive and really embracing life. So not so much of that deep in your own mind, like keeping yourself kind of holed up away from everybody while you think about what it is that you want to do. This is more of that energy of, yeah, let's get out there. Let's start making some plans. All right, we will start with jobs and careers. In the recent past, we've had the King of Pentacles in reverse. Current energy is the Nine of Cups in reverse. And next level of energy is the Three of Hearts. The Three of Swords in reverse. So from a job and career standpoint, in the recent past, there's been a little bit of this like maybe irresponsibility when it comes to your job, or like misuse of power, maybe some greedy, exploitive type of energy, whether that is coming from you or whether that is you being, I guess, on the receiving end of somebody kind of power tripping from a work perspective. And that is leaving you in this energy of like disappointment and feeling unfulfilled. So it kind of does feel like it's somebody else that is having that pressure coming in on you. Like you feel like they're abusing their power. Maybe they're taking credit for your ideas. Maybe they're, if you're working on a team, that there's somebody who just kind of skates by, but then at the very last minute they come in and they're all schmoozy and telling everybody, oh yeah, and our team did this and this and this, and everyone's sitting there looking around like, yeah, we did that. You weren't participating. Can also be certain scenarios where maybe your boss is like, oh, I really need you to come in and work this weekend, and you're not really getting paid overtime. It's just like that's an expectation that you're going to come in and work. So that sort of like greedy, exploitative type of energy. And it does leave you feeling disappointed and unfulfilled in your job, because no one wants to be in a job situation where you feel like you're being taken advantage of. But there is a sense of optimism and forgiveness. It has an energy too of moving on, whether that is a matter of you moving on from feeling that way. You know, maybe there's changes at work and that person's no longer on your team. Maybe you're moving teams, or it could be for some of you that that's kind of like the final straw, and it pushes you to look for new job opportunities. And we'll dig deeper on that sign grouping by sign grouping, but that's the overall energy that's coming out for air signs as it relates to jobs and careers right now. The next one we'll take a look at will be love and relationships. And along those lines, on the 23rd, we have Venus entering Gemini. And that's going to bring with it this energy of being connected with others, more like mentally connected, and expressing yourself and opening up your communication within your relationship. So Gemini is all about communication, and you're going to see that opening up during this, Venus and Gemini season. Also on that same day, on the 23rd, we have a Sagittarius full moon. And remember, the full moon is about what is it that you need to release? What do you need to let go of that is no longer serving you? And during this one, during the Sagittarius full moon, you're going to find yourself being more passionate about some of your beliefs and defending yourself. So that might present itself as, you're letting go of people who are just absolutely opposed to your beliefs. And not to say that you can't be friends with somebody who doesn't share the exact same beliefs, but it's almost more of a, wait a second, this just doesn't feel right, because I don't believe, like at my core level, I don't believe in the same things as, this person or that person. It's also going to have this energy of finalizing maybe some travel plans and thinking like big picture, what is it that you want to do? What, are there any moves that need to be made within your life? All right. And that is on the 23rd. So into love and relationships, in the recent past, we've had this 10 of Cups energy. So that beautiful energy currently sitting in the Sun energy, with the next level of energy coming in being Temperance in reverse. All right. So that's, we're going to dig deeper into this, because all of this is looking very positive, and then something is shifting it out of balance. So the 10 of Cups, that's kind of like that harmony, that happiness, sense of fulfillment. The Sun is feeling like you have your blessings coming in. You have a sense of abundance and optimism, and that you've accomplished something. So that's kind of that fulfilling, like both of these are very strong, positive, fulfilling types of vibes within your relationship. And then you have this Temperance in reverse coming up, which is about imbalances and excess and a little bit of like avoidance and ignorance. And when we dig deeper for each individual zodiac sign, we'll see how that plays out. For some of you, it could be a matter of, since this card is about ignorance, it's like that with ignorance coming in, that maybe you have thought that things were really good. And when this energy comes in, all of a sudden you realize, wait a second, was I telling myself a story? Or you have something troubling maybe that comes in and you misread it. So let's wait on that one and see how that plays out within each of the individual signs. Our last line that we have is for life, path, and mission. And then the last thing that we have happening in the second half of the month is we have Jupiter entering Gemini, and it will sit there for about the next year. And this is something, it's a benefit from like your mind, your ideas, your plans, things like that. And you're absorbing new knowledge. So it really has this energy of growth, like mental growth, maybe some spiritual growth too. And you're working on expressing yourself more openly and improving your communication. If you've had issues with a blocked throat chakra, feeling in the past like maybe you just couldn't express yourself, you were worried about that, you didn't want to rock the boat, there's going to be a little bit more of that energy of no, speak your truth, stand in your truth, and be unapologetically you. And that's the energy, like I said, that's on the 25th when Jupiter enters Gemini, and it'll sit there for about a year. So that means that over the next year, you could really be stepping into your own if you've been coming out of periods of feeling like you were in these cycles of people pleasing, making yourself small in order to make everybody else more comfortable, in order to not make waves. And this is kind of that shift there, which with it overlapping North Node in Aries, which is about being unapologetically you, it's a good time for those to overlap. So that, Jupiter in Gemini is about speaking your mind and about expressing yourself, and that North Node in Aries is about pushing you to stand in your truth. So, all right, let's take a look at life path and mission. In the recent past, we've had this King of Cups energy, currently sitting in the Emperor energy, with the next level of energy being the Moon. So in the recent past, you've had some sense of like this wisdom and balance, like you felt balanced, like, okay, I think I know what my mission is. I know what my purpose is. And because you've been able to feel like you know what your purpose is, that pushes you into this kind of strong masculine energy, this driven energy, a little bit of that like structured energy. Let's get this done. Let's get this plan into motion. But then the next level of energy coming out for you is the Moon. And so that's going to have a little bit of this sense of illusion or trickery. There's maybe a little bit of this sense of danger or anxiety. And the Moon is sometimes like your repressed beliefs or like your subconscious. And you might be subconsciously kind of worried about this, that, okay, I'm going all in. How is this going to work out for me? Here, let me scoot some of these up because we can't totally see them. Seems like the space is just a little too small, so I might have to adjust up here so that you can see the cards fully. So that is the energy that's coming in for air signs in general. And like I said, we will take a look sign by sign and see what all messages want to come in for you. All right, and first up here, we're going to look at Gemini. Sometimes we'll pop a few little ones under here so that we don't get quite as bad of a glare off the cards there if you were wanting to look at those. All right, let's take a look for Gemini and see what additional messages are coming in. So from a job perspective, it was that sense of being unfulfilled in your job because you felt like there was some misuse of power, and you're looking at wanting to move on from that situation and kind of you have a sense of optimism and moving on. What is Gemini being drawn towards from a job perspective here? We have our Eight of Swords in reverse and Strength. So the Eight of Swords in reverse is about breaking free from what you felt like has been keeping you trapped. It also does have this sense of kind of moving on, like taking control and having that freedom, because she's breaking out of that prison that she thinks she is in. And that really goes with that Strength card of how do you overcome that. You just have to break free and get a different perspective on it. Let's take a look from a timing standpoint. What are we looking at timing-wise for Gemini to be able to break free from this unfulfilling scenario at work? Summer. So that's going to be coming up here really soon, being able to break free. And so that's what Gemini is going to do. Let's just pull one more card and see if there's anything else that Gemini needs to know about this job situation. What is it that you don't see coming with the job? What is it that you don't see coming? This is going to be Three of Cups. What you don't see coming is this sense of friendship and community. So kind of this banding together from a job perspective. If it is a situation where there's a misuse of power, it may be in the form of you find out some of your other coworkers have banded together and maybe they went to the HR department to report somebody for inappropriate behavior, or a group of you are starting a different project, starting a different company. So you're not going to be on your own as you work on breaking free from this cycle of unfulfilling things happening at work. And that will also help kind of like ease any sense of, I guess, loss or grief as it relates to jobs. You know, maybe you really like that job, or maybe you really like the people. And so if you band together and start something new, then that's a way to kind of band together. All right. I was getting ready to take a look at the love part, and we had the Fool in reverse, which is about clinging to the past. And the Fool, it's kind of that fear of the unknown, and like you're unready to take that leap. But let's see, with our Gemini, let's look a little bit more at this Temperance in reverse. What is it that is feeling out of balance? You're juggling something with this Two of Pentacles. You're juggling your priorities, and you're trying to deal with change. Like you're weighing the decision of what is it that I am wanting to move towards. So for some of you, you have been sitting in this really good positive energy, and let's ask another question here. If there's this positive energy, what is this choice about? So let's look at this positive energy in a little bit more detail, like the good part that's come up. What has happened between here that's put it out of balance? So what is it that has kind of kicked things out of balance for Geminis, please? It's this sense of being burned out. Like you've been persevering, and it's that energy of I have to fight for every single one of these cups. You know, so 10 of Wands, 10 of Cups. It's that sense of I have to fight for every single one of these cups. Why is it that I have to keep fighting for it and fighting for it? And, you know, I get my blessings, but I only get my blessings if I'm the one that's in there trudging through the mud, pushing for it to happen. So that, you know, that makes sense as we're clarifying, you know, why it goes from this high vibe energy to, wait a second, things are out of balance. And it's because Gemini, you feel like you've been doing the work, and there's a little bit of this fear of the unknown, and that in terms of if I stop doing some of that work, then what's going to happen to this relationship? Is this relationship going to fall apart if I stop doing all the work? Or is the other person going to step up and participate? So this clinging to the past, where you're weighing your decisions, it's that matter of, okay, my decision is, like the decision I have to make is, do I keep being the one that's carrying all 10 of the wands here, or do I scale back and see how things go? And there's kind of been this sense in the past of wanting to keep doing that because you're afraid if you scale back, then is everything going to fall out of balance and fall apart? And so you're weighing that decision of, you know, for one, how fair is this to me? But also, how much longer can I be the one that's carrying the weight of it if the other person's not participating? All right, let's take a look at a card here. And this is as it relates to your relationship. You bring out the worst in me, and I'm planning for a future with you. So when you have both of those cards, there's a sense of, you know, when it says you bring out the worst in me, it's like there's that triggering of, you know, why do I have these fears about this relationship? Like, I don't like that side of me that feels like I'm afraid, and I don't like that. So let's pull just one more and see, since we kind of have cards a little bit on both sides there. Oh, there's two of them sticking together. I want to be the person I know you deserve. And I think, so I think this is your person saying this, and then this, you bring out the worst in me. So when you put those, all three of those messages together, and I guess this could be from either side of the equation, with the, you bring out the worst in me is, I would say for the person who's overgiving, and it reads that this is for Gemini, that if you're the person that's overgiving, that's one of the things that you need to work on, is putting self-love first. You're so ready, eager, and willing to take care of the other person that if the other person's not taking care of you, you're just going to keep giving more and more. And so that's kind of like the worst. Like it's a good trait, but it's a bad trait. It's like, it's a good trait to a certain point, and then once you hit that point, continuing to do that becomes a bad trait. And so I think there's some of that frustration, because then it's like you get this sense of bitterness of, well, wait a second, I'm so burned out. Why are we out of balance here? And so I think that's part of the, you bring out the worst in me. It could be that some of your behaviors are triggering the other person as well. And if things have been sitting in a good spot, it could be that one of the two of you get triggered. Like if something's going well, there's that sense of, wait a second, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, when's something bad going to happen? So it's almost like this air of self-sabotage, which is a trait that neither one of you are probably super fond of. And this whole idea of, I'm planning for a future and I want to be the person I know you deserve. I think those are messages coming in as you work on rebalancing the relationship. And in terms of this easing of grief and loss and sadness, there can be a sense of, like, as you scale back, it may make you sad. Like if there's something that you do all the time to show the person that you care, scaling back from that may make you feel sad. And, let's pull one of these cards specifically as well for Gemini, because that's the air signs in general. But let's see if there's another overall message here. Or what do we have? Charcoal. Cleansing, clearing, and releasing negativity. And this is probably related to a wound of feelings of inadequacy. This is also adding up to a 29, which is kind of like getting to the end of a cycle. Nines are about the end, like getting through to that completion. So it's almost like wrapping up this cycle of, I have to be the one that's giving all the time, because that's not a sustainable model for the future. And if you're trying to plan a future with this person, they're trying to plan a future with you, you have to be more balanced. Like in this temperance in reverse energy, you're not going to have a well-balanced relationship because one person is giving too much. And it can feel like a loss sometimes, or sometimes, and some sadness that goes with that of, scaling back. But you do have to work on clearing some of those old traumas or old wounds or insecurities about, well, if I'm not, love bombing the other person, showering them with affection, is the whole relationship going to fizzle? And those are also feelings, some feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness, like, oh, the only reason the person would want to be with me is if I'm exhibiting those things. And that's also part of that bringing out the worst in you, is making you feel like, oh, well, would they walk away from me if I'm not showering them with love, attention, praise, affection, like all the time? So that is for the love and relationships part. Life path and mission. We were, remember, we were sitting in that King of Cups energy. So it was that energy of having that balance and kind of, okay, I know what I need to do. Now I'm going to go do it. And then with the moon card coming up as the future energy, it's a little bit of that sense of not really knowing what that's going to look like, and maybe a little bit anxious or insecure about, what does that look like? Maybe this is all an illusion. How am I going to implement that? What do we need to know about the moon card for our Gemini? We have Ace of Swords in reverse, and we have Six of Swords in reverse. The moon card is about feeling some sense of confusion and a loss of focus. Like you don't have that same sense of clarity. Like back here, you thought you knew what you were wanting to do, what your life path and mission was. And then once some of these doubt started coming in, and there's this sense of illusion or mystery about, well, what's that actually going to look like? Then all of a sudden there's this sense of confusion, like, wait a second. Is this really what I want to do? Is that really the path I'm supposed to be on? Because it's not as clear now as I thought it was before. And then there's also this feeling unstable and kind of like stuck in a rut, like you're resisting this positive change that's trying to happen here because all of a sudden your fears and uncertainties and doubts kind of crept in. So what is the advice for Gemini to get past that worry that's coming in? So what is the advice here for Gemini to move past that? The Empress. That is about sitting in your abundant, creative, flowing feminine energy. And that's having that calm patience in the divine, in the process, that you do have this abundance and it is going to be coming in. And so it's releasing this negativity, clearing any blocks you have about abundance coming in, clearing any blocks about worthiness and your capabilities of starting something new, of changing your path, and releasing the negativity of what might be holding you back. All right, let's pull a few more oracle cards for Gemini and see what comes in. We have our moon cards here. All right, we've got believe in the impossible and step out of your comfort zone. And I think those are definitely going here with your life path and mission. Could also be with your job if you are, say, banding together with some people to start something new, to get that collaboration coming in, to get that teamwork coming in. Believe in the impossible, believe in what your dreams are, and step out of that comfort zone. Maybe you've never owned your own business before, but you've always thought, oh, wouldn't that be nice? That could be part of your life path and mission, is to take that step forward and create something that's yours. Increased meditation and self-reflection and grounding is always a good thing. You may, for the second half of the month, you may want to spend some more time outside, take some more walks, sit outside and listen to the rain or the wind or the sea or whatever the case may be, so that you can kind of listen to that, to those little voices. All right, doubt and regret. I release the need to know all of the answers. And then I know regret. I know that I cannot change the past. With doubt, I would say that's going with this moon card here, that you're letting doubt kind of creep in, like you thought you knew what your plan or your path was. But since you can't fully see everything, because in the moon, it's nighttime. So there's kind of some masking of the reality that's going on, like you can't see all of the details. And this card is about releasing the need to know everything and putting that faith in the divine that it's going to happen. With regret, and this could be along any of these places, wherever you feel like you're being held back. Remember, with regret doesn't change anything about what tomorrow is going to bring. It just robs you of today. So you can't change the past, but you can learn from it. And part of it on your path of healing and easing any of your sense of grief and loss and sadness, if you're sitting here in this energy of regret, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this, or, if you're somebody that overgives, well, I wish I wouldn't have done that so much because now I don't know how to get out of it. You can't change anything about what you did in the past, but you can learn from what you did. You can learn what you want to do differently the next time around. And remember to thank the universe for your lessons. It's easy to thank the universe and be grateful when you can feel this abundance flowing in. But even when it's, I'll call it tougher lessons, or ones that don't feel warm and fuzzy, they don't feel good, make sure that you're still being grateful for the lesson that's coming in. I remember going to some dance workshops when I was younger. They were ballet ones. And one of the teachers had said, yeah, whenever you go to things like that, sometimes people get frustrated if the instructor is walking around and, critiquing you or saying, okay, make sure you're, your leg's not straight. Your turnout needs to be a little bit more, posture, whatever. But thank them, because of all of the students in the room, they decided to look at you. They decided, how can I help this person be a better dancer. So kind of like along that lines, when you're saying thank you to the universe for all of your experiences, even if they're tough ones, be grateful because it's helping you grow. It's helping you learn. So make sure that you're doing that. And as always, take only what resonates within the reading today. I'll be doing some additional readings this week, like the Is This Your Person, Pick a Pile, Twin Flames, things along those lines. So make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those new videos post. Like I said, take only what resonates. If certain scenarios were not lining up with your current situation, don't try to force it. But if this does sound like it's matching up, there should be, or hopefully there is some message in here that will help you move your life forwards into better alignment, and that it will help you with your cleansing and clearing of negative energy or some of these wounds. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey, Gemini. Until next time. Alrighty, Libra. So let's take a look and see what all energies are coming in specifically for you as it relates to the reading that we started. I did this for Gemini as well. Let's go ahead and pull another one of these crystal cards, see if there is a specific crystal or a more tailored message for you for the second half of May. We have amethyst, which is spiritual expansion, beauty, and purification. And I love my amethyst. I love using these towers, like, because I feel like they just fit so nicely, like right there in my hand. So you can hold them and they kind of just fit nice like that. So I use my amethyst one quite a bit. It was actually on the soul journey pile before we started. So spiritual expansion, beauty, and purification. We will leave that right there as we jump into the reading for our Libra. All right, with our jobs, as a reminder, you had been sitting in this energy of feeling like maybe you were being mistreated at work, like there was a misuse of power, and so that was kind of leaving you feeling unfulfilled at work. And then the next level of energy coming in is this sense of optimism and kind of moving on. So let's take a look. What does this optimism and moving on look like for Libra? What does our Libras need to know about this moving on? There's a little bit of slowness to it. And then with our Page of Swords, there's going to be this sense of like planning and curiosity. So you're moving on, but it's not necessarily very fast. Let's pull a timing card and see what exactly that means when it says not very fast. When is the moving on from this situation? Longer than you think. So it looks like this is going to be a ways out. And let's pull, actually we'll do it from this one. Let's pull one more card. What advice do we have from Spirit for our Libras in terms of how to move on from this job situation that's leaving them feeling unfulfilled? Oh, cards were not shuffling in very well. So the advice there, 10, and then this one was the jump card. So we have the Hierophant. The advice here is going to be find a mentor or a guru, because you're getting to a point of frustration and like burnout. So this is this struggle. Like you just really feel like you're struggling and you've got so much responsibility and you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. And so that's kind of why there's this slow moving energy with finding that balance. And it's going to also be related to this spiritual expansion and that sense of it's not just about, oh, my job sucks, let me get a new one. It's really looking at, it's coming through that part of the slowness here with this is that you're really looking at what are the lessons here. So like I said, it's beyond just, my job sucks, I'm getting a new one. It's more of that, wait a second, what am I learning? What is it? What are these people here to teach me? Because a lot of times for a lot of people, your job is, a third of your day, roughly. And, how you choose to spend that time and who you choose to spend it around is very impactful for your overall life. And so there's like a slowness because you're trying to figure that out. You're trying to figure out what does that balance look like? What is it that if I'm doing something else, if I'm moving on from this situation, what do I want that to look like? And this might be a career coach. It might be a mentor within your current company. Maybe you can move to a different department, move to a different area, something like that, or stay where you are, but kind of shed some light on and transform this situation that is causing you so much struggle. So it looks like this is a bigger, like I said, it's a bigger issue than just, don't like my job, I'm going to quit it and find another one. All right. When it comes to love and relationships, this was, the message that was coming through for air signs is it was this good, positive energy sitting there feeling like you have your blessings coming in, but then the next thing coming in for you is temperance in reverse, which is that imbalance and excess and a little bit of this like ignorance type of energy. So let's ask for our Libras, what happened between here and here? Like if you were sitting in this good, positive, abundant energy, what happened that pushed it into this imbalanced energy? We have the Seven of Swords in reverse, and then we have the Hermit in reverse. So the Seven of Swords in reverse is there was some sort of a confession that happened. And then this Hermit in reverse energy is going to be this like loneliness, and you're withdrawing from loved ones and some rejection. And the way it's coming across is you thought everything was going really well because there was some sort of a lie. Your partner came clean, and it's like, well, wait a second, this really hasn't been as good as I thought it was because, you were lying to me about this, and some of it may not even be like, this does have some energy of, in the upright, it's kind of like lies and deception and cheating, but it may not be that extreme. It could just be that the other person was, maybe they're having doubts about the relationship, and they're just not telling you. And, kind of that whole, fake it till you make it, thinking, well, if I just ignore those feelings, they'll go away. But, maybe they were coming to face it that, wait a second, this isn't just like, hey, this week I'm feeling disconnected from my person. So this will be a message from your person to you. Oh, so there was two of them. I dream about our future together, and your smile lights up my soul. So they do love you. They do have those feelings for you. But it's, whatever this is, whatever that confession is, kind of threw you off. And, disrupted a little bit of the apple cart in terms of the good vibes. And then it feels like things are out of balance. It feels like there's, one person is doing a lot more, or, just an imbalance there. So let's see. Let's pull a timing card and see, when does it look like things will kind of come back into balance? By the next full moon. So it looks like it's a little bit of that short, a short time frame there. Is there anything else that our Libras need to do with this situation to help bring things back into alignment? This is Five of Wands, so that's a little bit of like conflict. And it could be that a serious discussion needs to happen. With an imbalance and a confession here, it might be that you need to have some of that tension to be able to get yourself back into balance. One party may have been a little bit of that people-pleasing energy. So it gave the impression that, yes, everything's fine, but really there was something that they weren't saying, like they weren't maybe being true. And so there's going to be some conflict that needs to happen, like a serious discussion, a little bit of rivalry there, but there's still this good, positive, loving energy. So it's just a matter of working through that, so that both partners are feeling heard and feeling like they have a voice. And that's that spiritual expansion. And how do you find that balance? And how do you like ease that sense of sadness of why are things out of balance here? All right, let's take a look at life path and mission for Libra. And so with that, things seemed like they were clicking, and then all of a sudden something came in to disrupt it. So talk to us about this. What is this disruption that's coming in? There's some domestic instability, and then feeling like your gifts are being taken for granted. There's kind of like this wasted talents, like maybe you feel like you were being manipulated or lack of planning. The Four of Wands is a twin flame card because upright or reverse, it's still that 11-11. And, so maybe for some of you, your twin may have come in and all of a sudden now it's like, well, wait a second. I thought I knew where I was going, but now I'm not sure because now there's this other energy that's coming in. Is this an illusion? Is this really real? And, you may also have other business partners or other, not necessarily even business partners, but with your life path and mission, there's other people that are affiliated with that, whether this is on a job standpoint or just, part of your soul tribe, and you feel like you're maybe not being appreciated for everything that you bring in. If you are in a twin flame connection and you're working on your mission and your purpose and what are you here to do, then this could also point to some of this imbalance. So remember, Temperance is Archangel Michael, so he is kind of the keeper of the twins. And if you're feeling like there's an imbalance, it could also be that this relationship is part of this life path and mission for you. And once things get out of balance there, it kind of calls into question, what is your life path? What is this mission that you thought this was your purpose, but now if things are kind of a little bit rocky there, some instability at home, it makes you question that life path in general. So let's see, what do our Libras need to know about their life path and purpose? What do they need to know to help feel like they are better aligned and on mission? Wheel of Fortune. So this is destined and fated. So some of this feelings of disruption or wait a second, I'm not really sure about this. Is this really the right path? Know that this is part of your destiny there. And it's this destined and fated, like you have to have those moments of, is this really what I want? So that you can do the reflection, you can do the soul searching and say, yes, that is what I want. All right. All right. So this is a time to give rather than take. That's new moon in Virgo, full moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. And this is on May 25th is the full moon in Sagittarius. So that's when I was talking about like maybe finalizing different travel plans, or you're more passionate about your beliefs and defending your ground. That's that bigger picture. So if back here, if you've been in a situation where you thought things were going in one way, and then now all of a sudden there's that moon energy, is it that you weren't looking at the big picture? You were just looking at one specific part of it. If there's other people involved in this life path and mission, are your beliefs aligned with theirs, or are you discovering a point of disconnect? So that was the one that was wanting to flip. And this one was surrender. I can release my need to control because this is divinely orchestrated. Divine timing is in play there. And your other card here is indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of my life. I did mention that earlier. I think it was in Libra's read, or maybe it was in air signs in general, that during this time, especially as you're trying to work out, like, what is it that you need to do here? And since this is kind of a long path, use your intuition. Remember, your intuition whispers. Fears, uncertainties, and doubts and ego is going to be that loud voice in your head that's like screaming at you, do this, do that, don't do this. Your intuition is going to whisper. So you need to be able to quiet your mind and be able to focus and balance. And when you work on your spiritual expansion and you're working on your meditation, then you can start to hear that voice coming through. You can hear that intuition coming through more easily than when you have like that monkey mind that's just screaming at you. So Libra, I hope that this message has been helpful for you, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I will be doing some additional readings this week, like the Is This Your Person reading, Pick a Pile, Twin Flame, so make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those new videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, Libra. Until next time. Alrighty, Aquarius. Let's go ahead and jump in and see what additional tailored messages are coming through for you. I did this for the other air signs as well, where I was pulling one more card. Like my hands aren't quite big enough to do it this way, but so we're going to pull one more of these crystal cards, see if there's a specific crystal you're being recommended to or encouraged to work with, and a little bit more tailored message there. All right. Soulmate alchemy, embracing loving presence. So let's we'll put this one up here. So this is kind of like a destined and fated. You know, if it's this soulmate alchemy, it's a very important person in your life. It's a soulmate connection, maybe a higher level connection. Remember, the Temperance card is also Archangel Michael, and he is the keeper of the twins. So this could be a twin flame connection that we're looking at here. But before we jump down to the love and relationships, let's take a look at job and career. Now, remember from the general reading, it was that feeling lately of that there was like this misuse of power that was going on that was leaving you feeling disappointed and unfulfilled at work. And then the next level of energy coming in was kind of a sense of optimism and forgiveness and moving on. So we're going to take a look and see what this moving on energy looks like for Aquarius. All right, what does our Aquarius need to know about moving on from this situation? All right, we've got our Knight of Wands. So this is that adventurous, you know, kind of fearless, confident energy. And then we also have our Six of Cups in reverse. And Six of Cups in reverse is about leaving home. You know, it does have this energy as well as of focusing too much on the past. And I think with that, you're focusing like whatever this is in the past that has been this abuse of power, misuse of power, and it's left you kind of feeling disappointed and blah about your job. I think even though sometimes this is like the sense of, oh, you're clinging to the past, I think that's a good thing. Like you're focusing on the past and you're letting that drive you to leave, because this also, it has this leaving home. And remember, home can be also where is your comfort zone, like where is that warm and fuzzy inside. And so you're leaving your comfort zone of home and moving on. And you're doing it with kind of this confidence and this sense of adventure. Like, yeah, let's just do something different. Like this is a cesspool that's draining me. Let's move. Let's do something different. So let's see what the timing is for taking that adventurous step into a different direction here. When you stop focusing on it, let's see if there's another card that goes with that. Only once you fully surrender to the divine. So you could also be looking at it, you know, because this does have an energy of focusing too much on the past. Like, but I've put in so much time here. I've put in all this energy here. Well, but isn't that going to be a waste if I leave and I have to start all over again? And if you can surrender to the divine and say, you know, this has been a great learning experience. What have I learned? How can this help me grow as a person? And then stop focusing on all of, oh, this is what went wrong here. This is what went wrong here. And then shift your focus onto moving on, onto forgiving that situation, and really stepping into that Knight of Wands energy that, yeah, this could be good. This could be good. Let's do something a little bit different here. All right, and next we're down here on this love and relationships line. And remember, so this was our second card that we pulled, this soulmate alchemy, and that is an 8. So that has a little bit of this energy of obstacles, but also on the side, then it's that infinity sign that this is a past life connection. And like I said, for some of you, this can also maybe be a twin flame scenario because we have Archangel Michael here in the mix, and you're embracing this loving presence. So let's take a look then and see. Remember, in this scenario, it was sitting here in this victorious, harmonious, your cup is overflowing, this happiness and bliss, and feeling like you have all of your blessings coming in, the sun is shining on you, and then boom, you have Temperance in reverse, which is about things being out of balance. So talk to us here, Spirit, about what happened between here and here for Aquarius. What happened between that feeling, this current feeling of, the sun is shining on me, to, wait a second, things are out of balance. So what happened there? Or what is going to be happening? We have our King of Wands in reverse, and then we have Judgment in reverse. All right. With this King of Wands in reverse, this is a little bit of this impulsive, like bitter energy. And then Judgment in reverse is about, you're ignoring a chance, like you're failing to learn from the past. If you watch the channel regularly in the daily reads when that comes out, that is the example of, this is a course that you signed up for. This lesson here on Earth is something that you signed up for. At the end of the class, you will have a test to see, did you learn what you were supposed to learn? Did you incorporate it into your life? And so Judgment in reverse is kind of that failure to learn, like you haven't quite incorporated whatever this lesson is. Let's pull a couple cards. I have a few more thoughts on that, but let's pull a couple cards here for message from your person. And let's see what that looks like. Whoa. Okay. So we have that one. I hope you can forgive me. Oh my gosh, these cards are thin and they kind of stick together. You're pushing me too hard right now. This is something where, part of this message, because this also, the Judgment card is also this sense of a little bit of like renewal or rebirth. Like when you look at that, they're standing there in their coffins, which that's usually the ending of something. Death is the ending of something. They're standing up and raising their hands up to spirit, kind of in the sense of rebirth. So you're holding back from doing that. Like you're kind of getting stuck in the past, and you're like failing to learn from the opportunities. So if things were going well, and then now all of a sudden there's this hiccup, there's this element, this message coming through of, maybe both partners were not on the same page. Like here you were thinking, oh, everything's going great, we're moving in this direction, and the other partner may have bolted or, kind of put the brakes on because they thought they were being pushed too hard right now. And, like, I hope you can forgive me, but I just feel like I'm being pushed too hard right now. And, it leads to that feeling of imbalance. It leads to that feeling of avoidance. Sometimes there's an element of like ignorance that comes through with the Temperance in reverse card. So like you two weren't seeing the situation the same way. And then with our King of Wands in reverse, this impulsive, like bitter energy of, well, wait a second, I thought we were here. And so the lesson for you to learn, for one, is how do you make sure that you're both on the same page? That even though your experience of the relationship might be here, that, oh, it's all, it's all 10 of cups, it's all the sun. The other person's experience may not have been the same. So even though you're both in the same relationship, your experience of it is different. If one of the partners is always available to the other one, like, they can call you anytime, day or night, you're always answering, you're always going to be there for them. But then when you call them, 70% of the time they don't answer. Maybe they call you back, maybe they don't. Your experience of the relationship is much different because you experience that frustration, that uncertainty, that is that person going to be there for me or not? Their experience of the relationship is, oh my gosh, it's rock solid. Of course you're there for me all the time. And this is a little bit of that energy. You might be the one that wasn't seeing how the other person was seeing it. Maybe you're the one that's not available as often to your partner and they're getting frustrated with it. And, you know, a little bit of that sense of almost like ignorance to it. So with the temperance in reverse having that element of ignorance to it, you know, you thought everything was fine, but it might also be that you weren't listening as much as you should have to your partner. You were just like, oh, everything's fine for me, so must be fine for them as well. And, you know, so there could be some of that energy in there. And some of this, I hope you can forgive me, might be your message to them of, I'm sorry I didn't recognize that you were struggling and that I needed to adjust. So that's kind of what things are looking like there. What can our Aquarius do to bring the situation into alignment? Because it does look like it's, you know, a divine connection here. We have embracing loving presence. So how can you stand in that presence? What is the advice from Spirit for Aquarius for this situation? This is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and this is about overspending. And the way that this fits in here is if you were the one that maybe wasn't recognizing what the other person was going through and they're saying, hey, you know what, you're not there for me. This is that encouragement to overcompensate for it now. And I'm not saying do that permanently, but if they're feeling like things aren't in balance, it may take a big push from you to bring it back into balance, and then you can level into, you know, this loving presence where both of you are equally as engaged or engaged in a balanced way. And this can be some of that easing grief, loss, and sadness as well, is you going, well, wait a second, I thought we were here, and my partner's saying, no, we're not there. And so there's a sense of sadness that goes with that. All right, let's take a look at life path and mission. As a reminder, this was sitting in this energy of, yeah, I think I know, you know, I think I know what my life path and mission is. Let's get it done. And then there's this energy of, wait a second, was I reading that situation correctly? So let's see, what has happened between this current energy of, yeah, let's do it, let's get it done, and something coming up that kind of threw things off. So talk to us about what is this moon situation? What has thrown off our Aquarius from feeling like they're on their life path? There's a little bit of disgrace and disappointment. And then we have the moon in reverse. And so there's this disgrace and disappointment related to repressed emotions and some confusion and some self-delusion. So, you know, where have you been lying to yourself about, this is what my path is, this is what my mission is, and then think about what has been, and this could be something, you know, disgrace is a very heavy word, but it could be for some of you that it was a very disgraceful situation that has come up, or it could just be something that's, you know, disappointing, like you thought it was going to go one way, and then all of a sudden, you know, you kind of get backdoored by somebody coming in and like taking away that opportunity at the last minute. Or, you know, if it's a new business, you know, somebody's out there bad mouthing your business. And if that's the case, if somebody's out there bad mouthing your business or your reputation, then with this repressed emotions and a sense of self-delusion, that could be a matter of turning that focus back inwards of, you know, where have you maybe showed up in a ruthless way towards other people, or what, you know, and it may not necessarily be anything about you or what you've done, but if there's somebody out there that's saying these things about you, how have you interacted with them, if you even had, that contributed to that? And maybe there's no contribution at all, but kind of looking at what led to that situation. So let's pull a couple moon cards here. Conclusions are within reach, and confidence is your key to success. Conclusions are within reach. I'm going to say this is going up here. That you're looking at wanting to move on from this bad work situation, and the conclusions are within reach. Like, if you can do that mental shift, you'll be able to move into that new energy, that new job opportunity. So they're within reach for you. It's just a matter of needing to put in that little bit of extra work and push through there. All right, let's take a look at our soul journey cards. We have fear. I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. And then acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change. And this one, I would also say this is going up here. Accepting what you can't change. So it's not necessarily about how can I change the parameters that are happening within my current job. It's what can I do differently, like in a new job. And accepting that you can't change the way they're going to behave. You can only change your participation in that environment or that experience. And then with fear, I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. Is there some sort of fear? You know, you're getting ready to take this leap, some sort of fear like, yeah, but you know, what happens if it doesn't work out? And so then, you know, are you self-sabotaging things like that? Because it looks like you're poised and ready to go. So don't let fear dictate or control how you're interacting with other people, how you're living out your life, your dreams, your mission. Well, I hope this has been helpful for you, Aquarius. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I will be doing some additional readings this week. Is this your person? Pick a pile, twin flame. So make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those new videos post to the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, Aquarius.